Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round number 8 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth, as always, Larry Lefty McLeod, His Eminence, along with Jonathan Grabowski, working behind the scenes to give you all the best views of tonight's 60-minute season finale, season 6 finale. And you know, as if it was our own remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, tonight Larry and I, well, we went westward from Mugello, the penultimate round of the sports car series, along the Mediterranean coast for about 12 hours. And good thing Larry and I like each other, because we were driving all the way to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, home of the Spanish Grand Prix since 1991 and home of Michael Schumacher's first ever win for a Ferrari back in 1996. Barcelona mixes long, fast straightaways with flowing curves early in the lap, and it's got a number of heavy braking zones that, and even some blind corners that will make for some very challenging racing here tonight for our finale. And also, and I think this is probably going to be one of the very first circuits that we've had, you can practically drive side by side with your competitor for an entire lap around this 14-turn, almost 3-mile circuit. And so, Larry, I think it's only fitting that with championships on the line tonight, that this is the first time that any of our Ricmotech leagues have been here to Barcelona.
I think it may have been. If it's not the first one, it's been a very long time. But it'll be interesting. It's a great place for a finale. I think we've got our last event here of this season. Championships to be decided. A lot of drivers know this place, and it looks like we're finally going to run the configuration just like Formula One has done and open up those last couple of corners.
Yeah, get rid of that nasty chicane at 13, yeah.
Oh, that chicane was awful, but we're not going to deal with that. We'll be good to fly around this place tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. A couple of great classes, and ready to crown some champions.
And that is it. All right, so we have, as our drivers now finishing up their practice session, here. Let's do this, Larry. Why don't we, as we always do, we're going to turn things over to Kevin Ford, who is once again once again working his way around different cars and different chassis here for the track guys. Nice to see him branch out, Kevin, tonight in the LMP3 Ligier for his track guide of Barcelona.
Welcome everyone to Mugello GP, located here in beautiful Tuscany, Italy. Be sure and pop your ears. We're 1,000 feet above sea level as we make our way down into this very tight wrapping turn 1. Very busy.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious...
Welcome everyone to Catalunya, Spain, and the beautiful Barcelona circuit. 13 turns, just under 3 miles to get a lap done around here as we provide you your track guide. Heading down into turn 1, very heavy brake zone here as we roll through the apex. We'll swing back left for turn 2, and then prepare for this very lengthy carousel right-hander of turn 3. It continues and continues as we track out off the exit here to use up all of that momentum to head down towards turn 4 here. Bit of a quick right-hander, but again, a carousel. You can get a nice long stretch off of the exit here, but you want to get back track right as turn 5 comes at you pretty quick. Down into this very tight wrapping 5, again utilizing that exit and the track runoff. We'll head down through the slight left-hander of 6. This will bring us into the 7-8 complex, a quick left-hander, very fast right back to the right through 8. Now up the hill through turn 9, we can see the sun starting to break over the horizon there. Out of 9, this is going to bring us into the next overtaking opportunity here at Barcelona, heading down towards turn 10. Very tight on exit, but it is an opening radius turn coming off the corner. You'll notice that it gets wide here, but you have to stay track left because the next corner is a right-hander through turn 11. Again, another wrapping tight corner here. You want to utilize that exit as this swings you into the fastest 2 corners on the track. Turns 12 and turns 13, the final 2 here at Barcelona. Out of the exit of the final corner, onto the front straightaway. There you go. There's your track guide. Thank you for being with us.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for his track guide of Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya tonight. And Larry, I felt claustrophobic in that LMP3 car. I don't know how Kevin did it. Talking about people with so little vision, I should also mention that Barcelona, very first track that Pastor Maldonado took a win in Formula One. So another little fun fact here. But we've got drivers out on track now to start their qualifying sessions, Larry. And as we almost always do every week here at the Sports Car Series, we send our drivers out for a 15-minute session, and we give them 4 attempts, 4 flying laps in order to set their fastest lap and set the grid for tonight's 60-minute LMP3 and GT4 race. And we're watching right now Bailey Petrowski, who sits atop the leaderboard, the championship leaderboard in LMP3, and he is working his out lap right now. Actually, he's working his out lap. Going to be coming through the final corner here, coming into turn 14 now to start his very first flying lap. And once we have times start to come in on the leaderboard, we will signify the different classes, the 3 different classes that we have by color, Larry, much like Bailey Petrowski here in the LMP3 Ligier. All of those racers, well, you can pretty much tell what an LMP3 car is compared to a GT car. There's Robert Hartley from Orion Racing. The LMP3 cars all have orange number boards, orange mirrors on their side pods as well, and also orange end plates on their wings, whereas the GT cars, we've got our GT4 Pro and GT4 AM racers, and we're looking at Kevin Carlisle right now. He is your championship leader in GT4 Pro, and I believe he's coming off a win 2 weeks ago at Mugello in his SimCity Racing Mercedes. He and all of our other GT4 Pro racers, they've got The Ricmotech red number boards on the sides of their cars. They've got the red mirrors, windshield banners, and also end plates on the wings. And boy, Larry, that red, Ricmotech red, is awfully fetching when teamed up with black and neon green, as with that SimCity Racing livery. There you go. All right, speaking of green, let's move over to our GT4 AM racers. And the Klim Club is going to be happy that we are using David Klimovich as our example here. And David running for Slow Bros Racing in his Porsche Cayman. Like all of our GT4 AM drivers, green number boards, mirrors, windshield banners, and end plates on the wings. All right, so we've got racers now out on their very first flying laps. I think our first racer possibly to come to the line, Larry, will be Travis Schwenke. Nope, it is Josh Vidal setting in and setting the marker in the number 26 Ligier. He puts down a 139.50. He's your first man in the books.
He'll set the baseline. We'll see what everybody else can do to chase, and they're starting to trickle in, at least in the GT4s. Kevin Carlisle setting the bar there at a 50.9. That's pretty quick there for quick driver GT4 Pro, and a couple more LMP3 times come trickling, and kind of waiting on that time there for Bailey Petrowski. Looks like his first lap may have been with an off track somewhere, because he doesn't have one, but he's on his second already.
Yep, and so here he goes, and ooh, he may have run wide again, Larry. We'll see if he can put this one in, as he is, as you mentioned, working lap number 2, making the run now down into. He's got the quick left-hander over at turn 10. Gonna switch back at turn 11 and a couple more corners here. Now you'll notice that there are a lot of little access roads around the Barcelona circuit here. This is a circuit that, at least in Formula One, racers know well. A lot of the European GT drivers as well. It's used for a lot of testing over the course of the year because of the great weather that they have there. One of the challenges that racers in real life have at this circuit, Larry, is changing winds and how they change direction quite a bit. As it looks like Bailey Petrowski did not have an off track on that previous lap, Larry. He goes to the top of the leaderboard in LMP3 with almost 2 full seconds on the rest of the field.
That is a big jump there. Travis Schwenke may have had the same issue in his first lap that Bailey did, and didn't quite get the same thing with Hartley. These guys are all putting in 1X as the first lap and lay one down to their second. We'll see what the Orion boys have. The 137.6 is moving pretty mightily fast around this place. There's Schwenke's time slotting in second right now at a 38.4. We should see Hartley may have also off-tracked his second lap. As he's
no, he gets a time in.
Oh, he did.
And it's a 138.71, so about 2/10 off of his teammate Schwenke. But still about, we're looking at about 0.8 of a second off of Bailey Petrowski. All right, coming across the line, we're starting to see some GT times on the board, and Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing puts his second flying lap in. He turns in a 150.94. That is, I think, Larry, we've got the more exact times all the way out to the thousandths on the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen, but just about 2 100ths of a second, give or take, separating Mariano Barrios from Kevin Carlisle.
Yeah, this track is fascinating that it's so wide in a car like a GT4. You got a bit of line choice. You can start cutting distance and spots. You can kind of sweep them out. There's a lot of connected, especially through this opening part of the laps. You know, this turn 4 into this turn 5 section here, where everything's connected. You got to figure out, do I want to just go tight all the way through? Which way do I want to go? And apparently for Mariano, he's going to go back to the pits. As we're watching him, and there he goes.
There he is, onto the pit lane. All right, in GT4 AM right now, we're watching Lucas Dragota as he comes across the line, and he moves up to 3rd fastest in AM. Currently, Zach Mosley, your fastest GT4 AM driver. Mosley racing for Frito Sport Racing in his Mercedes. He was your winner 2 weeks ago at Mugello in GT4 AM. Dragota finished 2nd in class for Dragon Sport Racing, and then Midfield Motorsports' Tom Jenkins finished in 3rd. So it was 2 Marks and an Aston on the podium, with Andre Wedderburn from Mousespeed Racing in his Mercedes finishing in 4th. Let's take a look at the point standings here, Larry, as we are heading into the very last round here of the championship and of season 6. In GT4AM, your current points leader is Lucas Dragota. He gave up a couple points to Mosley there for round number 6, but still maintains a 17-point advantage over the Frito Sport racer Chuck Labano for Frito Sport Racing in his Mercedes-AMG GT4, currently sitting in 3rd position, 25 points out of the championship, 8 points back from his teammate. And then Slowbar Racing's David Klimovich with the Porsche Cayman, the number 21 machine, currently sitting 4th in the championship, 71 points out of the championship, and 46 back from Chuck Labano. Dale Maxwell from Black Flag eMotorsports currently sitting in 5th. All right, let's jump over and take a look at the standings and where we are in GT4 Pro, where Kevin Carlisle, we mentioned, took the win 2 weeks ago at Mugello, 12 seconds up on Jeff Jacobs. And I'll tell you, it was a great event for Jeff Jacobs, Larry. He was fastest in practice all week long at Mugello and turned his 3rd place start into a 2nd place finish. So good job for him. Robert Schwenkler, who started 5th, took home the last podium position in his Wrong Stuff McLaren. And Ken Copeland, who started off on the front row, poor night for Ken. Got I think into a wreck on lap number 2 and was on the back foot from there. Whereas interestingly enough, Schwenkler actually started at the tail end of the GT4 field, about I think like 20 cars deep, and worked his way up. If we take a look at the championship standings right now, it is Kevin Carlisle, your points leader, with 392 points. And you never feel safe, Larry, but he has currently 63 points on Robert Schwenkler right now. Mariano Barrios 6 points back from there in 3rd in his Friendly Neighborhood Racing McLaren. And then Jeff Jacobs running 8 points back from Barrios, currently 77 out of the championship. And then Ken Copeland is, I think, 858 points. If I do my math, I'm not breaking out the abacus tonight, Larry. It didn't go over well last week, but 158 points out of the championship. And if we move over to LMP3, and right now, Larry, Eric Violet, I think, is the only LMP3 racer still on track. He was your 2nd place finisher at Mugello 2 weeks ago, finishing almost a full minute behind his D2D sim racing teammate Bailey Petrowski. Travis Schwenke from Orion finished 3rd. Rockefeller's Aaron Beaver, great run for Aaron. He finished in 4th. And then Baron Glover finished in 5th position for the Wrong Stuff. And if we take a look at championship standings, not a big surprise here, Larry, because he's got 8 wins on the season out of 9 possible. Bailey Petrowski with 397 points. He's got a 34-point advantage over his teammate Eric Violet. And here is where things get tight, because Violet, he swapped positions in the championship last week with Travis Schwenke, or last round, but Schwenke trails Violet by only 2 points. It is then Leo Dragota from Orion. He is 34 points back from Schwenke, and another 13 back is his teammate Mike Dam. So currently the Orion racers running 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and the 2 D2D racers sitting atop the leaderboard 1st and 2nd.
Well, Mike Dam may be 5th in the championships, but I don't believe he is here tonight, so he's going to miss this finale. But that battle for 2nd in LMP3 is going to be pretty epic to keep our eyes on tonight. It was a heck of a battle 2 weeks ago. That was just an amazing battle between them that may have had some wounds there at the end of the night. But I suspect they're going to pick up their competitive spirit again here tonight. Maybe different strategies. We'll have to see. It's just this 1 hour race. But yeah, I expect the 2nd place battle between them in the overall championship is going to come down to Eric Violet and Travis Schwenke. This should be a good one.
Yeah, the Schwenke and Violet got together on 2 separate occasions in I think the last 10 laps at Mugello, incurring a lot of damage to one of the cars, a lot of penalties to the other car, and again, very, very close here tonight in the championship. All right, we've got just about 2.5 minutes remaining here in qualifying, Larry, and I'm checking our green room to see if our guest here, our pre-race guest is in and available, and indeed he is. Let's welcome to the commentary booth Russ Ruddick, driver of the number 95 Flying Tortoise Motorsports GT4 AM BMW M4.
All right, Russ Ruddick has joined us here for pre-race. Russ, last event of the season here in this series. What do you think of your season up to this point, and what are your thoughts for tonight?
Well, it's been interesting. Been trouble trying to get back up to speed. I had open heart surgery in February and missed most of last season, and been kind of struggling getting back up to speed, but trying to salvage much as I can.
Yeah, that's a big thing to recover from. Even sim racing, you've got to be, healthy heart and all that. That's a lot to go through. Has the recovery been good? Are you up and moving around?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Like I said, I'm just trying to be consistent. I'm never the fastest qualifying, but the plan is just to be consistent and be there at the end.
Yeah, well, you're in the middle of the points battle, kind of in this heat of the pack here. Looking at the points, you're just a couple of points down from Dale Maxwell. You're just a couple ahead of Andre Wedderburn. Do you keep your eye on those guys in the standings and know where they are as you see them on track?
Not really. I just try to do the best I can and be consistent and be there at the end, take advantage of other people's mistakes.
And yeah, just be there for the opportunities, and that's we'll see what kind of opportunities that you get here tonight. But yeah, it's good to have you pre-race interview. We haven't had a chance to talk to you too much. I guess, are there any other thoughts you have about the series, or maybe looking forward to next season?
I'm definitely looking forward to next season. Get a reset. Maybe start fresh and healthy, and see if we can't, get back to the podium again.
That would be awesome. All right. You want to give any mentions or shout out to anybody tonight?
Yeah. Big thanks. Shout out to my teammate, Jeff Jacobs, for all the helps with the setups. Makes it possible for me to be able to get out there.
Yeah, of course. It always does help to have that. All right. Well, thanks, Russ. And good luck tonight. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you when it's all over.
Hopefully. Thanks.
All right, everybody, there you go. Russ Ruddick from Flying Tortoise Motorsports. Good luck tonight, Russ. And it appears, Larry, as though qualifying just wrapping up and our drivers heading to the grid now. So let's take a look at the starting order for tonight's race. And tell you what, Larry, why don't you take on those LMP3s and I'll muddle through all the GT4s.
All right, so on the pole tonight, no surprise here from DTD Sim Racing. It's the points leader, Bailey Petrowski. Alongside him, though, the Orion team has nominated another one to be at the front of their group, and it's Rob Hartley tonight on the outside of front row. On row 2 on the inside, Eric Violet from DTD Sim Racing. He's in that contention for second place, the championship. Alongside him, though, it's another one of those pesky Orion guys. This one is Leo Dragota on the outside of row 2. Row 3 on the inside, it's the other one fighting for second in the championship, Travis Schwenke from Orion Racing, alongside Baron Glover from the Wrong Stuff. And then we've got finally on row 4 from Hutch Sport Racing, Josh Vidal.
All right, in GT4, your front row made up of your 2 championship leaders, one in Pro, one in AM. Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing is your pole sitter, with Zach Mosley from Frito Sport Racing starting on the outside of row number 1. Row number 2 is Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff, with Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing. Row number 3 is going to be Chase West from Era Kinetics. Good to have Chase back. And alongside Chase will be Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport Racing. Then we've got Chris Thorman and David Klimovich. They'll make up row number 4, with Stephen May from Mayforce Racing and Jeff Jacobs starting in 9th and 10th position. Starting in row number 6, it's going to be Dale Maxwell with Russ Ruddick, then Chuck Labano, and John Casey, the 2 Frito Sport teammates, will be sharing a row. And then we've got Greg Brockway along with Robert Brist. And then that should wrap up the GT4 field. And we'll have to see. Aaron Beaver, Larry, did not put in a qualifying time. And iRacing, I think, tries to stick him at the very rear of the field. And we'll see if they move him up to start ahead of the GT4 racers.
Not sure he's in the session. He did do some practice laps when they were doing the practice session prior to qualifying, but I don't know that he's going to make the start of this race. If he does, he'll be on the outside of row 4.
All right, so a little bit shorter pace lap here tonight, Larry. And again, as always here in the Sports Car Series, we do have a live starter, and tonight's starter and race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information. All right, as our LMP3 racers come through turn number 14 and onto the front straight and into the start zone, Larry, as the starter looks over the field, and we'll wait for that green flag. And there you go. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as our GT4 racers now come out of turn 14, and they are going to wait for the green flag as well, as Petrowski and Violet now get ahead of Robert Hartley on the rundown into turn number 1.
Yeah, watching the teammates kind of lined up there. Hartley's able to get in front of Violet, so that's going to help. And that looks like a spinner back there. That's Dragota.
That's Leo Dragota, and just as our GT4 racers get the green flag, Larry, so they're now making the run down to turn 1. It's Kevin Carlisle and Zach Mosley. They're on the front row with Robert Schwenkler trying to sneak in as well. And looks like Dragota and Thorman battling it out for position side by side, as Thorman now finally gets things worked out. He's all the way back in 6th position. Chase West in the 757 Mercedes. He is sitting right behind Mariano Barrios, who pokes to the inside for a moment there on Robert Schwenkler. Not quite close enough, and gets back in line. Let's take a look and see what happened to Leo Dragota.
See him going through turn 1. He'll be the one with the orange, or I guess red accents. There he is, number 118. He just kind of, did he touch the back of Schwenke perhaps?
I think he might, as he came over the curbing layer, I think he may have had a slight touch there with his teammate Travis Schwenke.
Because the curbing there is, on that part of the corner, is pretty soft, but if he made any kind of contact there, that would possibly have caused the spin, but he recovers quickly. Looks like no harm to Schwenke in any of that. As now we take a look at the teammates of those two guys. That's Rob Hartley, currently up running in 2nd spot, trying to keep up with Bailey Petrowski. Now this is a tough track to pass on, except the front straight, especially cars with downforce. Following through a lot of these long sweepers like Barcelona has makes the cars push quite a bit. The front straight's their only chance. They're going to get a run off the turns 13 and 14. If they can't, it's just going to be another lap around. These guys might be a little bit more spicy in their attempts through some of the longer corners to try and shove a nose in.
Yeah, you know, I would expect with the GT4 cars probably coming into the kind of quasi-hairpin at turn 5 might be a good opportunity to try and make a pass. But yeah, certainly with the LMP3 cars, not quite that opportunity.
Yeah, and for the GT4s, if you get a run through the very tight dip down at turn 7 and 8, and you get a good run through turn 9, you can make a pass even into 10. It is a very hard braking zone. Turn 1, obviously, as you mentioned, maybe the 4 or 5 might be a combination type pass. But look at him here, trying to make moves down in turn 1 and 2, and that's Klimovich going around.
Oh, and Klimovich, first he rolls back across the pavement, and he tries to get his car out of the way. And Klimovich, he's going to drop all the way down to the tail end of the GT4 field. Let's take a look and see what happened as they came down into turn at number 1.
Thought maybe he lost it on his own. He comes in hot. He's right up underneath the back of there of Lucas Dragota, and I think he might have just lost it on his own, following him closely.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he thought maybe, Larry, that the spacing was a little bit too tight. Maybe got out of the throttle, lightened up the rear end there as the car was still loaded up.
Yeah, a little bit of an accordion effect can catch him off guard through those slower sections of the corners. Turn 1 and 2 are relatively fast, but it is still sort of a chicane. When there's heavy traffic, it gets a little bit dicey. Now we see these, we go on board here with Chris Thorman from D2D, going through that turn 9, a high-speed right-hander is at Cresta Hill. Now let's see if he tries to pass. I talked about they can make passes into 10. He's not going to make this one. Maybe that was more defensive against Dragota, who's going to shove the nose in and almost make contact. Wow, Lucas. Didn't make it stick.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, Lucas at this point, you know, he needs to, he's got a lot of positions to make up there to get up to Zach Mosley. And, you know, and again, I'm not going to do the math. I'm not breaking out the abacus tonight here, Larry. You know, but with Lucas's lead being 17 points at the moment,
it's possible, but
yeah, I'm not sure how many positions he can give up.
Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, if he if he has a rough night and has an incident, that could be an issue. Now we flash forward here to the front of the field. That's Kevin Carlisle, that's Zach Mosley, and we get a new leader here in overall in GT4. It's the GT4 AM leader leading the race,
Right.
Zach Mosley.
Exactly. Just the person that Lucas Dragotta needs to keep in contact with and wants to ensure that he doesn't get max points. Right now, Zach Mosley moves to the front of our GT4 field, and he's got max points for the moment.
Yeah, and Carlisle keeping him honest there, just about got to the back of them, the two of them in their AMG Mercedes. So really interesting. We've seen this before. Mosley's got the pace to run with the front of the field at tracks that he's comfortable with. This might be another one of them, as he had really good pace around the last couple of sweepers to get down the front straight and make the pass on Carlisle. But I'm curious now how Carlisle now has to defend a little bit against Schwenkler and Barrios behind him, because they are, in fact, pro-class contenders for Carlisle. I like that corner a lot. That turn 9 crest of the hill there. In a downforce car, it's amazing. Even in these, though, you have to just sort of set the car and let it slide. But if you go too wide, you pick up an off track out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can see the car where it's leaned over, it runs, and the camber just kind of appears and then disappears very quickly. And yeah, I would imagine in a downforce car like these LMP3s or something like a GTP car, it must be a pretty neat feeling. All right, we're watching right now. This is the battle for second, Larry, and that is because Bailey Petrowski on lap number 3 is already 2 seconds up the road. And so Violet, who is looking to leapfrog Travis Schwenke, much as Schwenke leapfrogged him 2 weeks ago, now sitting behind the Orion Racing teammate, Robert Hartley.
Well, this could really help Schwenke if Hartley can just sort of, lift coast a little bit, just keep Eric Violet behind him, but maybe don't make his lap times all that good. You might see a three-way battle here, another lap or two, because Schwenke, as you can see the gaps on the screen there, about only at 1.5 back from Eric Violet right now. If he gets within about 1.2, we can start to feel some draft down those long straightaways. And that's what Hartley, if he wants to help his teammate, could help back him up and back up Eric Violet a little bit into the grasp of Travis Schwenke.
It's funny, Larry, we were talking 2 weeks ago about possible D2D strategies in order to ensure that somebody like Travis Schwenke did not get a bonus point for leading a lap. And we're actually seeing this once again, because I think that it was the very start of the race at Mugello also that Mike Dam had moved out and was battling for second position overall, and Travis Schwenke was a little bit further back in the field and had to work his way back forward to get up to Eric Violet, and we're seeing once again where the two Orion cars are perhaps not in a position to optimize the points haul for Travis Schwenke here in the last round.
Not quite yet. Well, let's flash over to the GT4 group. What you've seen now is Kevin Carlisle's back into the front position of all of the GT4s. Zach Mosley's into the second spot, but now actually Carlisle's got a bit of a gap on these guys. Yeah. He started to pull away a little bit, about a second and a half ahead, as Mosley now is ahead of Schwenkler and Barrios. And this is how it happened as they came down the front straightaway. And there's Carlisle as Mosley goes defensive. The issue with going defensive here is if you're on the outside through turn 1, it sets you up to the inside of 2. And I'm not sure it even needs to go that far, as Carlisle got a great run and some draft to be able to take that advantage. And through the rest of the lap, he built up quite a lead. So now we got to look at these two McLarens chasing around. This is Schwenkler and Barrios, and they've swapped positions. Now it's Barrios up to the third overall in the race, second in pro.
Yeah, and it's amazing, Larry, given how long this front straightaway is here at Barcelona. The effect of the draft going down into turn 1, and I think that's the second time where we've seen somebody now be able to draft by and get the pass done well before turn-in for the turn 1-2 complex. But that start-finish line, it's only about a third of the way down the front straight. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to, we always watch at Watkins Glen where you try and make that draft pass out of the final corner. I don't know if we're going to be able to see that and have that happen here tonight.
It may not be possible. Might have to do that on the prior lap when we get down to it. But this is Eric Violet challenging Rob Hartley for second spot in this race. And right now he's got the nose ahead, but it's not over yet. Now it may finally be a full pass for position now as Eric Violet moves up second in this race. Hartley now a little bit back, but did that slow them up enough for Travis Schwenke to make ground? I don't know that it is. It looks like
Schwenke's still over a second back from both of them here, and I thought for a moment as they were side by side, Larry, that that Schwenke would be able to maybe at least make up 4 or 5 car lengths, and you can see there he's still a pretty good distance back.
Yeah, he's might be able to sniff a little bit of draft now for Schwenke behind Rob Hartley as they come around here towards this turns 13 and then down into 14. Remember, we've seen also in these cars differences between setups, high downforce, low downforce. That always comes into play. But the draft can help. And look at this little battle. This is Lucas Dragotta and Chase West.
Yeah, and this is the battle for second in AM right now. And Larry, good fight there as they came down into turn 1, and perhaps the one time where we didn't see the trailing car able to draft past the car ahead. But these two very evenly matched Mercedes now here. Good fight after Lucas had that early issue. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that was Leo with the early issue on lap 1.
Yeah, Leo had an issue. Klimovich had an issue. We saw a moment ago Klimovich starting to make his way back to the pack. We'll check with him a couple times, see how far he can get through. But Lucas here, I love watching the different lines, and I'm seeing it. Some of this defensive, and some of it's just line choice. Lucas and Chase, I saw them do it through that turn 4. Lucas was more of a tight all the way through. Chase was more of a wide entry and later apex. Watch them as they go up the hill. Looks like more curve for Lucas than for Chase. Means he can carry just a little bit more speed. Doesn't look like it's going to help him get a pass, though, done. Maybe he can get a little fuel save, a little lift and coast there going into the brakes. Look how much more curbing he uses.
No, it's pretty wide almost everywhere around the track. It's a question of, at least on the green stuff, what you can get by with before you get that off-track penalty. As we saw last round, where a couple of drivers at Mugello ran up against the points limit that we have set here in the series and had to take drive-through penalties because they had been off-track more than was allocated. Now, the one thing also, as you mentioned, the difference in the lines here, Larry, and some of the drivers staying very tight along that curbing, is that the one thing that came out of practice this week is that the left side tires have, in both classes, LMP3 and also GT4, have really been taking a beating here at this circuit. And, a lot of that is with this counterclockwise layout, or probably not counterclockwise, with let's try that again, with the clockwise layout. It should be pretty common to have that kind of wear. As I think that Eric Violet just had some issues, Larry, as we watch here the two Orion racers.
So here he was. Violet was second in the race ahead of Hartley, and Schwenke was back in third. That is completely inverted because of this here. As they get into traffic, that's Russ Ruddock there in the Flying Tortoise right in front of him. Violet's got to check up hard, and up underneath goes both Hartley and Schwenke. And at some point, then Schwenke passes Hartley even, as you can see them happening up there in front of them. So Violet maybe got out of there lucky that there isn't any damage on the car that we can see, but that really could have cost him a chance in second place in the championship.
It's almost as if Ruddock was trying to give deference to the two Orion cars that he saw coming up the inside, and just didn't know that Violet was sitting there on the outside and took away the space that he had.
Yeah.
And Ruddock in a real bad spot there. Unfortunately, the driver gets called out for it is Eric Violet, and he now drops back to fourth in LMP3 behind the two Orion cars. And I was gonna mention,
Leo going underneath them while these two are side by side. That got a little dicey there. I don't know that he meant that to be 3 wide, but he made it work.
And that's Jeff Jacobs and Czech Lobano. Somehow that worked. And we're going to see the next one of these LMP3 racers, and I think that's Baron Glover, trying to come down the inside and realizes there's nowhere to go.
No room at the end right now in turn 1. Because Glover's going to have to wait until he gets around turn 2 to finally make the pass around 3. It looks like what he's going to do, go around the outside, get around these guys, as it looks like Lobano was able to make the pass on Jacobs.
We always talk about how how difficult it is to pass Jeff Jacobs, but that's usually in relation to other GT4 cars, Larry. Not so much cars with a weight and a horsepower advantage like the LMP3s.
Never easy on anybody.
No.
It's Jeff in that BMW there. Drives good solid lines. He's consistent. Makes it really tough to pass. And his next one it's going to try is going to be Stephen May. And I don't know. The way Jeff has been driven lately, it's going to be a tough pass for anybody. Labano needed to make the pass. He got it done. He'll try and catch up with Lucas Tragoda there up in front of him. But right now, Jacobs has got his hands full of Stephen May as we go back then to this battle. Now Eric Violette's behind Rob Hartley in the number 3. And Schwenke now seems to have stepped away a little bit. Yeah, you can see him up there ahead.
Yeah, so, we discussed how early on it would be a good task for Hartley to try and bring Violet back to Travis Schwenke, and now it didn't happen maybe the way we thought it would play out. It didn't happen, or it did happen organically, and now Schwenke able to take advantage here as Robert Hartley making it for a very difficult pass.
Yeah, I actually wasn't sure that Violet was going to even try that. He popped out late, couldn't quite get it low down enough to make that the inside line, and all it did was slow him down even more and fall further behind Travis Schwenke. So it's going to be tough. He's got to be very careful about where he picks his spot to get by Rob Hartley. Different lines between these guys. And then you get the aero wash for the trailing car. If you're up too close, the front of these cars just don't bite anymore. It just puts more tire wear on the front end.
Yeah, and it also looks like Violet's pushing the braking zones a little bit deeper than Hartley is, which is probably contributing to that front end wash as well.
Yeah, it could be. Well, if he's planning on taking tires at his pit stop, maybe he doesn't mind destroying them in the first 30 minutes of this 60-minute race tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
That can be part of the strategy. Some nights, if it's a 75-minute, you got to make those tires last a little longer. If it's one of our hour and a half, maybe you got to last a little longer knowing you're still going to change them. It's all part of the game you got to play. And we'll see how that plays there in LMP3 as we flash back over now to the AMs of GT4 in the battle of Lucas Tragoda and Chase West still waging on. Guys are losing sight of Zach Mosley. Now almost 7 seconds out in front of him. 7 seconds plus 3 extra cars. A couple of GT4 pros there between them, including right there Chris Thorman. Lucas has got to really set up these exits here. He's got to get through these kind of corners that lead you to the long straightaways if he wants to make the pass. The issue now is Chase West might have a little bit of tow coming from Chris Thorman out in front of him, about 1 second up.
Yeah, and we're seeing here where Tragoda is not making up a lot of ground. Tragoda also ended up pinching off the exit to 14 just a little bit, where we saw West open things up and take almost all of that green curbing on the exit of the final corner. And look at this, Larry. This is Robert Schwenkler and Mariano Barrios. Schwenkler now putting Barrios back down into second, or probably in the 3rd position in Pro, 4th in GT4. Great move there by the Wrong Stuff McLaren driver.
Yeah, let's take a look at that replay here of that pass. So there's Barrios gets a little bit of a slide, a little bit of a late apex, or missing the apex there into 1, gave all the opportunity to Schwenkler, who uses it to shove that thing in there. And I think Barrios might have realized he was beat, just figured it's just let him go a little bit, because they're still trying to chase down Mosley and Carlisle out in front of him. Right now they're losing gaps. They're falling back. So Barrios may have realized not the time to fight. There were 20 minutes, 15 minutes left in the race instead of maybe 18 minutes gone. Perhaps he gets a little more defensive for that spot. But at this stage, keep the pace going, run hot laps. Doesn't really matter the order. Wait and settle this thing as we're in the last quarter of it.
All right, let's jump in, Larry, with our race leader, Bailey Petrowski, because, well, we haven't seen him since lap 1, turn 1.
We get him, guys.
He's now opened up over 9 seconds on our 2nd place runner in LMP3, Travis Schwenke.
Yeah, he has just got it working on all cylinders here. I don't even know if mathematically, no, we're not going to grab the abacus if he can even be mathematically beat for the championship. But what Bailey wants to do is to make sure there is zero doubt he wants to win this thing and have, with the one drop of happened to being his so far his one bad race of the year.
One race he didn't win. Yeah, exactly.
He would like to clear the rest of them and get the perfect set of wins. But, you know, we're still only 20 minutes into a 60-minute race. Long ways to go. He's got to focus, but he really wants to put the stamp of authority and win this season outright with no doubts.
Well, then again, you say his one bad race, and I guess that was Laguna Seca. I guess that would probably, I think that would go down in the annals of bad races here this season. Yeah. All right, look at this. Not even another driver on the front straight.
Yeah. All by himself.
Yep. All right, looks like Eric Violette starting to close things back down on Schwenke and Hartley. Larry is about a half second separating our second, third, and fourth place racers here. That last time by Violette putting in, well, he was, he was a full 0.02 of a second faster than Robert Hartley, but both drivers about 0.3 faster than Schwenke ahead.
Yeah, they can now all pull into the draft and start getting a little bit closer. And again, now is also where you start thinking about that pit strategy for Violette. You start seeing any GT4 traffic. The next time you see traffic, don't be surprised if 1, 2, or all 3 of these duck in for their stop, because that pit window's got to be coming. And if you can avoid some slow laps, then
yeah, pit window for the LMP3s, Larry. We estimated it started around the end of lap number 11, so into lap number 12, and guess what lap our racers are on right now? Lucky 13. So we are right there. We anticipate that they should be able to get a max of about 26 laps of fuel, and race for them should be 37 laps.
Yes, if I'm in one of these LMP3s, knowing that it's not the biggest field tonight, some of this we've seen in the shots we've shown, the GT4s are kind of in bunches. So when you catch up to them, it can take a little bit to get past those bunches. And the thing about endurance racing in general is about efficiency, and it's the average lap time. So you just can't have too many bad laps or your overall time just starts to fall. So the key is eliminate the bad laps. Just have good, consistent laps. So right now, all they're doing is worrying about turning laps. But if you can avoid some traffic for a couple laps and instead get more clean laps, you can make that pass in the pits very easily. So let's see if one of these three might. My prediction might be Eric Violette might do it first because he's the trailing of the 3. It's always easier to make those odd choices if you're the last of the 3 instead of being the front runner.
All right, at this point, and yeah, I probably should have the abacus, just taking a look at the point standings in LMP3 as we came into tonight with Eric Violette up on Travis Schwenke by 2 points. All right, at the moment, with Schwenke in second position, that would pay out 60 points, and with Violette in fourth place, that would pay out 56 points. So a 4-point spread right there. So that would be enough. Yeah. I think we know Robert Hartley's task now for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, honestly, he's got to help his teammate. He's got to play blocker. He's got to keep Eric behind him everywhere that he can. And if he can even more, keep him behind him while letting Travis get away. Actually hold him up a little bit, push him back, which is where Eric's got to then think about get away from Hartley. Find clean air. Do it by himself. Clean air is going to be easier on the tires. Clean air is easier to avoid traffic. There's a lot of reasons to be by yourself. And I'm wondering at some point here, are we going to see Violette make that split?
Now a little bit further back in the point standings, Hartley came into the night 6th in the championship, 13 points down from his teammate Mike Dam. Of course, Mike Dam not here this evening, so that's going to garner Hartley at least another position. He came in only a single point ahead of Baron Glover, and 5 points up on Aaron Beaver. Beaver did not take the green tonight, and Glover is sitting back in 6th position. So,
pit stops are starting.
Yep, here they are.
We had Jeff Jacobs do his, and now it's Leo Dragota, the one we haven't been talking about since his first lap spin there in the Orion group. He is in. Now we'll see if does anybody else follow.
As we jump back over to the GT4 battle. And again, our two category leaders, Kevin Carlisle currently leading the championship in GT4 Pro. He is your GT4 leader at the moment. Zach Mosley, your GT4 AM championship leader, currently running second. And we'll see how this plays out. Mosley has already spent a little bit of time there as the leader, but I think it looks like he's pretty content now, Larry, to just kind of sit back and maybe reserve some fuel here and maybe take it to Carlisle at the end of the race.
Yeah, probably. But what great pace here for Mosley, your AM leader tonight. Thought maybe, just maybe, Carlisle was going to get away, but Mosley is able to reel him back in and separate himself from the second and third place pro category drivers, Schwenkler and Barrios. So great job so far for Mosley.
Hey, Larry, if we take a look here,
yeah,
well, that's the pace car, but Leo Dragota still sitting on the pit lane.
A minute and a half, so there must be something going on there with that driver, that car, or maybe even his sim equipment. There's a lot of things that can happen that could cause this, but he's basically out of contention in this thing right now.
Maybe he got grounded.
Well, we'll keep our eye on that, see if he returns back in, or if we can find any replay that shows anything that might indicate. But for now, that's 1-0 Ryan car. It's had some issues.
Let's take a look. This is, Larry, right before Dragota came into the pit lane, and we saw this earlier where the car seemed very, very unstable, and maybe he is having some equipment issues.
I wonder, a little sim rig issue with his. So my prediction is I wonder if his steering wheel came loose from his rig, because it looked like that. It looked like the steering wasn't going straight anymore.
And he had that happen a couple laps earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
he might be there with the pit crew doing some mechanical repairs on a sim rig.
We could talk about a guy in the pits, but let's talk about this, because that right there is Schwenke. That's a very aggressive Eric Violet going underneath Rob Hartley as they went by some traffic. Violet pouncing at opportunities here, gets past the one car he needed to now take it to the direct points rival. Travis Schwenke now has his mirrors full of Violet. That was spicy. That was fun. And look at this. Your second place in LP3, Travis Schwenke dips into the pits. He's coming in.
All right, so that now moves Eric Violet up in the second position.
This gets tense. I thought maybe Eric would do it. No, it's going to be Travis. The one at the front of the field says, let me get away from him and do my thing. And instead of having to deal with fighting.
So does the call come in now for Bailey Petrowski to come down the pit lane so that Violet picks up an extra point for leading a lap?
You know, we've heard of these things before.
Mm-hmm.
It's all there. It's all possible. But every bonus point's going to count. The key will be to make sure that Travis Schwenke never gets a bonus point. At this point, he'd only be able to get one if he wins the race, given the current situation of things, considering he's the first one into the pits. But look at this battle going on here. Dale Maxwell, Stephen May, the Mercedes and that Ferrari, side by side. May finally yields.
There we go. That was the battle for fifth position in AM.
And there's a Klimovich coming up behind him. He's making his way on his recovery from that lap one contact spin that he had down in turn 2. Look at this, already back up to 6th in class, or 7th in class, chasing the 5th and 6th drivers. Klimovich on the move.
Oh, and I see Phantom Power Racing in the chat picked up on my little comment about the Dragota car. All right. And now Eric Violet, he's going to come down the pit lane and come in for service.
So I'm wondering again if that's this traffic thing. He came in one extra lap later. So there's some traffic around. This means that they're going to, with only one lap difference in their pit stops, they're going to come out very close to each other, assuming their pit times are pretty similar. Schwenke's was a pretty efficient stop. We'll see what Violet's is here, as he's hiding behind the pace car Porsche.
Yeah, behind the Porsche and also that concrete wall there at the end of the garages.
Yeah. All right, well, the GT4 battle is continuing. Of the two leaders in the separate classes are still nose to tail, Carlisle and Mosley. Their Mercedes are each moving faster than anybody else in this field right now.
All right, Larry, and in the battle of the pit stops, Eric Violette on the pit lane, a 1.1 seconds fewer or less time than Travis Schwenke. Violet rejoins ahead of Travis Schwenke. You can see there with about 4 car lengths now separating them. 4 car lengths and a Stephen May.
Now, this will be interesting because we know that these guys are experts and willing to cut all the way down on the amount of fuel that they need. Did Eric Violette underfill the car on purpose so that he has to do some fuel save over the next 30 minutes? We know that he does these things, and he gets it down to fumes if he has to. And there's a big slide. That's going to hurt his chances with Schwenke now looking to capitalize here. Can Schwenke get him as they go through turn 9 to head across the top of the hill?
Yeah, as Violet may still be waiting to get some heat in those left side tires, assuming he did take 2 there on the pit stop.
Yeah. Well, he's got the inside line now for turn 10. Can Schwenke hold the outside? No, he can't. And I think you're right. Extra lap of warmth for Schwenke helps him there along side by side. Violet, a little struggle there as they were cold. That's Klimovich in front of them. He wants nothing to do with that battle.
No, he does not.
He's got his own recovery already to deal with. Doesn't need to make another one out of this.
Well, look, if we can get 2 weeks in a row of David Klimovich and doing a big drift through his sweeper.
Well, the season highlights, for sure.
Yes.
All right, well, this is the battle of, right now it's for third, Baron Glover and Josh Vidal. Those 2 LMP3s. Glover in the wrong stuff, Vidal in that beautiful yellow, what is that, like a turquoise?
Yeah, very Miami Beach-like.
A little bit, yeah.
Either
reminds
that
me
or
of like
SpongeBob.
one of those ice creams you would get from the ice cream truck when it by when you were a kid. In those colors.
All right, Larry, it sounds like, the Klim Club is not going to be happy with this. We were just talking about David Klimovich needing to keep out of people's way. Didn't hear what the incident was, but David Klimovich has been assigned a drive-through penalty for incident responsibility. Again, did not pick up which car he had the incident with.
It says in the log between Stephen May in the Ferrari and Klimovich, and I think we might have a replay in a moment that Jonathan's going to queue up for us here. Here we go.
Here we go.
You can see Klimovich coming up on the back of May in that yellow and green Ferrari. Gets a bit of a too much of a deep in that run there, and that is tagged right into him there going through turn 10.
Well, and now we know why things got so close there between Glover and Vidal as well.
Yeah.
Because it looked like Vidal had to take evasive action.
Yeah, look at the approach speed on board here with Klimovich. He goes into the brakes. There's May in front of him.
Oh.
And Klimovich just expected to carry more speed and just didn't slow as much.
Yeah, that gap just practically disappeared almost immediately.
Yeah, I know Porsches have good brakes apparently, and Ferraris perhaps not as good, and Klimovich going to serve that penalty, I assume. At this point, not actually stop.
Yep, and he's got Dale Maxwell ahead of him. We assume Maxwell's going to duck into the pit lane. There you go, and he does, and he's going to take some tires as well.
All right, well, this battle's continuing. Look at this for Vidal down the inside. He's got the position now. But Glover's not going away, not yet. Can he counter as they come up through turn 7 and head towards turn 9? Glover might want that spot back.
Yeah, as they're coming up on our GT4 leaders.
Oh, this could get interesting. Mosley's trying to get out of the way. We'll see if Carlisle does the same.
Mosley moved all the way over driver's left. We
got a lock up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, big slide there for Josh Vidal. That's going to lose that position. Just locked up both ends, and the rear slid more than the front. Luckily, he recovered, didn't actually go around. Nobody got into him, but big slide there as we flash over to this battle. This battle's been going on for the entire time. Chase West, Lucas Dragota just can't seem to break this battle up. This is good stuff. Lucas probably knows the serial number of the rear bumper fascia on the Chase West car in front of him at this point. He's been back there long enough.
You know, and Larry, I think one of the things I've noticed is we've watched a couple of these exchanges and a couple of these laps is Dragota doesn't get a very good run, a good dig out of the final two corners, out of 13 and 14. And he ends up losing, and you know, again, maybe he's trying to save some fuel as well, but usually ends up losing about a car length to a full car length on that run down into turn one.
Yeah, what if it's a couple things? If it's a setup thing and he's struggling those two corners, or if he's got more downforce, which means he can't catch the back, because they do have a little bit of wing adjustments they can do on these GT4s. Right. If he's carrying a little bit more drag, a little more wing than Chase West, West having perhaps the speed advantage down the front straightaway.
Right. Well, young Leo Dragota in the chat, Larry, very Bobby Childs like, and he says, "Dang curbs are so slippy." All right, coming into the pit lane now, Robert Hartley pitting in from second. And we'll have to see where he comes out in relation to Eric Violette from D2D and his Orion Racing teammate, Travis Schwenke.
Yeah, when they each pit earlier, when Schwenke and Violette pit, they were all together. And we'll see if the lap times have been similar. And if Hartley can be right in that mix again, and if we're setting this thing up for 25 minutes of shootout, for second place in the championship, with at least one of these guys having his teammate in the mix. The other one's teammate is out in front of the race right now with Bailey Petrowski, just sort of in another world.
All right, well, Robert Hartley's coming down the pit lane now, Larry. Let's see where he is in relation to Violette and Schwenke. And Hartley moves up now into third place, but he has effectively gotten around an Eric Violette there on the pit cycle.
Yes, and it's great work there for him. Now the question is, what strategy does this play out if Hartley's trying to help Schwenke? Because does it help if Schwenke's in fourth? Probably not. He needs Schwenke up in front.
Right.
But what can he do to help Schwenke catch and pass Eric Violette? What can Eric Violette do for himself right now in the middle of this Orion bread sandwich?
Leo's in the chat says at least he didn't kill Travis. All right, Larry.
Just tell me, go back and watch the race from 2 weeks ago. It all makes sense.
It'll all make sense to him. All right, we are now up at the top of the hour. Larry, we've got about 25 minutes remaining here in our Season 6 finale from Barcelona. So let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just a few moments with the remainder of tonight's race, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, live from Barcelona. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to the circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It is round number 8, the season finale here of the Ricmotech Extreme Motorsports Sports Car Series here on Apex Racing TV. And Larry, you know, obviously we want to thank the great folks from SCCA Foundation that have been sponsoring also Ricmotech as well. And wow, coming into the pit lane now, both Robert Schwenkler and Mariano Barrios pitting in from, I guess, second and third at the time, you know, because I was going to, you know, and Bailey Petrowski coming in from the lead in
Kevin Carlisle just came in, I think, while we were away. Zach Mosley had come in, so this looks like it for everyone. They all need to get their fuel now. This
Excellent
battle
timing.
of GT4s is going to be fascinating.
Wow. Oh, I was just going to say, I just saw one of the
There goes Carlisle.
racers blink out there for a moment.
Yeah, Carlisle's moving
I think it
again.
was
He was leading. Where is he going to be relative to Zach Mosley?
All right, well, there's Mosley now on the front straight.
So,
And
Mosley's
so
going to get a
Mosley,
run.
yep, Mosley's going to slot in the back in the, well,
Second in the race, but yeah.
right, exactly.
Still leading him.
Third right now in AM, but he's right behind Kevin Carlisle. We assume that when Chris Thorman, who's our current GT4 leader, and Lucas Dragotta and Chase West come down the pit lane, that should move Carlisle back up into the lead.
Yeah, so also interesting that we had seen those two McLarens coming in right there back-to-back, of course, Schwenkler and Barrios. Barrios ends up in front as they come out. The other big battle we were watching is Chase West, Lucas Dragotta. It wouldn't surprise me if those two also come in together, and there they are, probably a handful of corners away from coming into the pits at the same time because their pit window is going to be closing.
Yeah, indeed. The pit window for the GT4 cars, Larry, we had down as 21 laps, and
they're on lap 22.
these racers, they're on lap 22 at the moment. So,
oh, look at this! What a time to try a pass here. Probably going to be his in lap going into turn 13. All he gets to do is lead down pit lane, we assume.
well, it's either that or maybe he blocks off. Maybe he blocks him off from going down the pit lane. So there you go. As Lucas Dragotta gets around Chase West, finally, the two drivers that are going to come down the pit lane. Chris Thorman did pit in just ahead of them in the D2D Aston Martin. We see him going into his pit box now, so that should move Carlisle back up into the leader. Whoa!
yeah. Oh, and look at this.
He overshot the box.
Yeah, he did. Chase West goes right on by. He has to back up. Is he in his pit box? Because it kind of looks like he's in Lucas Dragotta's car.
Yeah, it looks like he's. Well, we'll know in a moment here.
All right, but there's your leader now at GT4, GT4 Pro, and all of the GT4s led by Kevin Carlisle. He's moving right along there. Zach Mosley leading in AM. He's about 2 seconds back from Kevin, and then you've got this Chris Thorman now. Sorry, Chris Thorman coming back out in third.
I was going to say with Robert Schwenkler now, who had been battling for most of this race with Mariano Barrios for I guess second in pro, now slots his McLaren behind Chris Thorman. So Thorman making up a spot there on the pit cycle.
Yeah, Schwenkler, a little issue there in the pits. May have cost him just a couple of positions there, so we'll see if he can get around Thorman and catch back up to Barrios. Barrios now 5 seconds ahead of Schwenkler when they had had such a great battle the entire time. Speaking of good battles, there's the Schwenke and Violet battle coming around turn 5 up into 6 and 7. Those two are just about together there, right behind Chris Thorman.
Yeah, and the one thing, you know, Hartley hasn't held back to try and squeeze them together.
Don't blink here.
The traffic is doing on its own there. As Schwenke had a good look for a moment there on Violet.
Yeah. He did. He just didn't take the opportunity. Maybe thinking doesn't want to push his luck a little bit. But here they are still together. But as you said, Hartley not really doing anything to back this battle up. Hartley is right now 4 seconds ahead of these guys. And maybe he's just looking at his own race finishing second because or he's thinking if Schwenke gets around Violet, maybe he'll then offer up second place points. But right now, it's the battle for third here between the two fighting for second in the championship. Right behind Barrios as they go to the front straight. This has got to help Schwenke. This has to. The trailing car here, get a little draft on the front straight. If he can do it, he's got a little side draft.
Yep, he pulls up right alongside now.
Left side's where you want to be through turn 1 because it sets you up. Look how wide Schwenke goes. If he can hold that, he'll be in the inside of 2 and he'll get the position.
There it is.
There you go.
And gets it done.
Well, that's good positioning for Schwenke. That's where you have to go. Violet was sort of stuck with no other option. Well, they'll have to go ahead and get by Zach Mosley next, who will want to just get out of their way.
Nowhere to go. Ooh. All right, so Larry, as I was getting into, this is the season finale for season number 6, and it's not going to be long before we're back with season number 7.
Yeah.
But the Sports Car Series, new name and new attitude. It is the Ricmotech Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge, and it will be back with season number 7 starting August 26th. And with that new name comes a new format as well, Larry, because every single race round, we're going to have 2 races, 2 35-minute sprint races here in the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge. So definitely want to shake things up here just a little bit, and I think they are going to be doing some field inverts as well, about half the field in GT4 and also in LMP3 getting the invert after the first race.
That'll definitely spice things up. That could be a lot of fun to watch. So just a couple weeks till our first race in that. As you said, it's a new attitude, just like Patty LaBelle said. So
That's
we're looking
right.
forward to that. Anytime I can quote an 80s song in front of you, Greg.
Yes, thank you.
That's not my forte, but I do enjoy knowing that you know all of them. Look at this. So Lucas made that pass on this corner coming into the pits just a few laps ago. He still has that advantage now, running second in GT4 AM. Remember, he's the one comes in the points lead in GT4 AM. He needs this, and he needs to stay there so he can maximize his points. Right now, it seems Zach Mosley is kind of out of reach, but maximizing what you can get behind him is what Lucas Dragotta needs to do.
Yeah, and so again, Dragotta came into the evening with a 17-point advantage on Zach Mosley. But again, the way that we assign points here in the championship, Larry, not based necessarily on GT4 AM versus GT4 Pro. It is overall positioning in GT4. And so Zach Mosley, who, again, currently running second in GT4, if the race were to end now, would come home with 60 points. And then Lucas Dragotta, who is sitting, sixth, and he would pick up 52 points. So currently, he'd lose 8 points. So he's still got, he's still got 9 to give. Okay. So it's a good position for now.
Now, if any bonus points are awarded, the bonus points, of course, Mosley did lead a lap in this race.
He did.
He'll pick up at least a point for that.
1 point.
Yeah, so it's close. Dragotta can't lose this position. He can't get any kind of contact. Right now, he's going to lose that position as Chase West looks like he's going to get underneath them. For how long? Because they're still
maybe
side
a little
by side.
contact.
Yeah, around turn 11 now. They went around the left. Now they'll go around the right. Is the same spot they went side by side before the pits. They're doing it again here through 13. Look at this stuff. This is great. Lucas is going to yield, knowing, oh, he's not.
No, he's not, and he's going to get pinched right at the apex of the final corner, turn 14, as they come onto the straight. Nice, tight, close racing there between Chase West and Lucas Dragotta.
I don't know if Lucas is going to try it again here. If he can get to the outside again, that's that line we saw earlier where Schwenke got around Violet. Let's see if Lucas can do it, but I don't think he can break out there and stay there. Good positioning for Chase West.
Yeah, and you saw there is Dragotta's car starting to wiggle around, move around under threshold braking, and he just wasn't alongside, far enough alongside to attempt that move.
If you can get full door-to-door alongside and hold that line, just about half of it, you can hold then through turn 2 and take that position. But Chase West did a really good job positioning there to keep that position. So maintain now second in GT4 and pushing Dragotta down to third.
Well, and it was interesting there as Chase West maybe into the braking zone a little bit, started to move over drivers left just a little bit, maybe to take away a little bit more of Dragotta's buffer there and a little bit of a margin. And it kind of reminded me, Larry, of one Max Verstappen, who, by the way, got his very first ever Formula One win here at Barcelona, and that was in 2016.
Well, these two have a battle coming up behind them. As I'm seeing, I think it's Baron Glover and Josh Vidal. Yes, it is.
Once again.
Yeah, so this is going to get interesting through these long sweeper parts here. I don't know that Chase West is going to yield much to let these LMP3s through. Dragoda does at least. Lets Vidal come through. West is going to have to let Glover through at least here through turn 13.
Well, they got him at perhaps the best spot there. Big wide sweeper there over at turn 13 that they were able to get underneath them.
It's still a pretty good battle, then. This is the battle for 5th in LMP3 at Glover and Vidal. They've been at it for quite a while, probably almost the entire race. It seems.
I was going to say almost the entire race. And, when we had seen where Vidal had gone off and into the gravel trap, trying to avoid that incident between Stephen May and David Klimovich early on, and he's made his way back up to the back of the 13 of Glover. And there, well, we talk about alternate lines, Larry. I thought for a moment that Josh Vidal was going to run very wide through that corner there as well.
Baron Glover doing a good job here, being efficient with his passing through traffic and keeping that position now ahead. Every time he can get to a corner and keep a GT4 between he and his rival, that's going to help him a little bit. Baron doing a good job at this point. Carrying the wrong stuff flag here in the LMP3 group. We haven't checked in with this guy in quite a while, Bailey Petrowski.
Who?
Yeah, who at this point, by the way, does not have fastest lap of the race. That actually was just taken by Rob Hartley. The Orion driver did a 37.7 to Bailey's best 37.8.
And
so
all the
Bailey,
while we wanted Hartley to back up the race behind him.
If Bailey's like me and has the spotter cranked up with chattiness, he'll have heard the fastest lap of the race now is owned by somebody else. And that might just wake him up a little bit. We'll see if his next time around is a 36 or something silly.
Maybe, he may have been thinking about like chord progressions or something, as he's getting ready to get back by, pick up that guitar again.
His 7-string guitar or whatever he's got. He's just looking to play a little bit of a victory song tonight. He's got 9 more minutes to get around this place to pull this off. But Bailey Petrowski in a good position so far. Rob Hartley just fast tonight. I didn't get the feeling through most of the season that that he would choose this car to run very often. He seemed to be we all know he's very comfortable, very fast in the MX-5s. This car, he seemed at times to struggle, but tonight he seems to really own and control and run this thing well, even on these long stints. And things are getting tight for the next spot. This is Violet. He was almost a second and a half back for Schwenke. He's got it down under 8/10. Things are tightening up again for 3rd position in the race and for 2nd in the championship between Travis Schwenke and Eric Violet. 8 minutes to go. Has Eric Violet done all the fuel save he needs to do? Is he ready for a challenge? That's like Magellan all over again.
Yes, it is.
Except the shoe was on the other foot. Schwenke was the one chasing late in that race.
That's right.
Now the chance to chase is on Eric Violet. We've watched him win championships, the TCR days. Watched him compete. He's one of the toughest competitors you're going to find in this thing. He loves the intensity of the competition. He loves the perfection of driving to achieve success. And right now he's got to focus in and put all that intensity to work and try and catch a very good Travis Schwenke out in front of him. They keep responding here. Good lap. Hand motion there.
And in the chat, Larry, backmarker Bobby Child says that Eric puts in work.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Both of these guys do. We know that Eric does.
Yeah.
And we know because he sends us pre-race notes every week. He even takes time out of his day to do that. Schwenke puts in work. I believe we've heard the other teammates talk about how Travis is the one that does most of the setups on a lot of their cars that they run across the Orion team. So these two of the hardest working guys in this. We know that Bailey Petrowski, of course, race leader, working very hard. He's focused in, but these two representing their teams very well and being leaders and being intense competitors and working hard to get there.
Larry, Robert Hartley once again resets fast lap now. Drops it down to a 1:37.66. That's 2/10 faster than Bailey Petrowski's fastest time.
If Hartley and Travis are running the same setup, that bodes well for Schwenke, because what that tells me is the setup is good for long runs and that it runs well on the tires at the end of the session. That could be good for Schwenke, who's defending this position over Eric Violette, if Hartley's got that kind of pace too in what should be and often is the same setup car.
Well, Larry, it looks like Petrowski's running about 2 seconds off of Hartley's times currently. He's running in the mid-39s. Hartley's in the mid-37s. Schwenke and Violet are in the mid-38s. And Petrowski might just be in fuel save mode at this point. I'm wondering if
he could be,
if it's
or
a question of maybe
there could be some
fuel.
GT4 traffic that he's having to wait for as well, being patient around some of that. There's Hartley now getting around the Dragotta and Chase West battle. As we go on board here on the replay and watching this battle of Dragotta and West now going through that turn 10, and it's West on the inside.
That was a wonderful move, and you could just see the nose in West's Mercedes just drop down as he got onto the brakes from the inside position there so early. But you can see
it's
here
not over.
No, how many corners it takes to get the pass done around here with these two very evenly matched Mercedes at full song, that it took, well, until they got onto the front straight, Larry, and about 5 corners in order to get that pass made.
Yeah. And again, this is what Zach Mosley needs. Zach Mosley needs to finish where he is, or heck, if he can somehow catch back up to Kevin Carlisle for the overall GT4. But right now, Mosley doing what he can do, and hoping perhaps that Chase West can stay in front of Lucas Dragotta. Dragotta, I don't know if he's doing math, but he's a young kid. He can probably do math while he's driving. He's probably got his cell phone calculator out and figuring out the math already. Or perhaps his former teammate and brother sitting across the
I was going to say, he's probably got a spotter now. Yeah. Breaks out the TI-77 or something and graphs it all out for him. Yep.
You think these kids use TI calculators?
No, not a chance.
What is a TI anyway? What is that? Texas Instruments. Boy, that's how old we are. All right, well, not being old, let's go watch the kids do it. And again, this is the West and Dragotta, and that is the Schwenke. I think it's the Schwenke and Violet battle coming up behind them. Oh boy, big slot for Dragotta.
Oh no! And into the wall.
That's damage too. All he was trying to do is stay out of the way, and that car is limping hard. This could change the championship now.
It can, Larry. Again, Leo Dragotta, or probably Lucas Dragotta, only with a 17-point advantage coming into the evening.
Well,
and
what he cares about right now is he cares about the 25 seconds that he's on track ahead of Jeff Jacobs and Dale Maxwell, because he's got to make it 3 minutes. Pitting now doesn't make any sense.
No.
Oh, well, the car just hit another wall because the car's got an uncontrollable front end. This is just falling apart now for Lucas Dragotta. All he was trying to do is avoid the LMP3s coming up on him, and it's just not good right now. Oh. See if he can do this again. There's the second bit of contact there.
Doesn't want to turn left.
Yeah. Well, Bailey Petrowski right now finishing lap 35 with just over minutes to go. This could be coming up on white flag. Maybe one more, he'll get white flag. So 2 more laps to go for him. So Dragotta, if he can somehow make left turns, he just needs to survive to maximize his points and maybe cling to this championship. Meanwhile, Zach Mosley saying, this could be my night. We don't know.
Yeah, so I was looking to see how far down he could go, Larry.
Well, there's a pack. You look behind him now, and there's a bunch of them down there that might just get on past him, and this could be tough for young Lucas. Oh, and here we go. With 2 laps to go here, this battle is on. Eric Violet now pushing Travis Schwenke. Violet strong through turns 1 and 2. He's up underneath, but he's going to go wide here. That may only be an off track out there. I don't think that's even a slowdown here. He's going to go by.
Wow.
Look at the struggles, though, for Schwenke.
Yeah, we saw the car get very loose there, and Violet, Larry, went so wide to avoid.
Yeah.
he just wanted to make sure that he didn't get clipped along the way, and he was able to drive right around, and that is going to wrap up second position in the championship.
There's still a lap and a half to go for these guys.
Yes.
So
and we've got race control now, Larry, also alerting drivers to the pace of the 119 car of Lucas Dragota out on track.
Yeah. All right, well, this should be white flag now for your race leader, Bailey Petrowski. One more time to go to win his 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever it is, race this season.
It would be, assuming he comes home with the win, Larry, it would be win number 9 out of 10 possible.
So he's got another 3 miles to go while we check back in to Schwenke and see if he's got one more push as they'll come on the front straight and see their white flag. It's going to be really close. Eric Violet showing flashing lights. Eric, you got one more lap, buddy.
Yeah, and he's coming up onto the back of Kevin Carlisle, who is your GT4 leader.
He wants nothing to do with this battle either. He's maybe a little less abrupt with his maneuvers than we saw from Lucas Dragota, but Schwenke, again, struggling here perhaps on the brakes. Those tires might actually finally be going away.
Yeah, and he may have taken a calculated risk there, Larry, and we see the left rear step out on him again there, that he may not have taken any tires there in the pit cycle, and with the thought of maybe being able to get past Eric Violet and hold the car.
Maybe not, or perhaps he was just, his style is using up a little bit more of those. He's been doing a little more battling in this race than perhaps Hartley, his teammate, was. Hartley honestly didn't do a ton of battling once he solidified his position early. He's in second, but Schwenke maybe had to do a lot more work to hold off Violet, and maybe costing him right now.
All right, well, Bailey Petrowski should be coming out of the final corners right now, Larry. There he is, coming into turn 14 and onto the front straight. And Bailey Petrowski, for the 9th time this season, is going to take the win here tonight at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. He is going to be your LMP3 champion once again, and coming across the line, finishing second, is going to be Robert Hartley from Orion Racing, and then coming home in third, coming right underneath I guess that's Brockway, coming home in third here tonight. Finishing second in the championship from D2D Sim Racing, Eric Violet. Travis Schwenke will finish in fourth. And now coming out of the final corner onto the front straight, your GT4 Pro leader from SimCity Racing, it is Kevin Carlisle. He will take the win. Zach Mosley, your GT4 AM winner tonight. And great run for Zach Mosley from Frito Sport Racing. And Larry, I might have to run back and get that darn abacus out, because we're going to have to do the math here, I think, between Zach Mosley and Lucas Dragota.
I got a TI-87. I'm just going to go grab and run the numbers. So I'll have that done. I think mine's got graphing capabilities. I'll plot the whole thing for you.
Thank God, because all I've got is my old Casio digital watch. All right, coming home second in GT4 Pro tonight, Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing, and then Chris Thorman from D2D Sim Racing. He'll take home the bronze in GT4 Pro. And GT4 AM finishing second tonight, Chase West in the number 757 Mercedes, and that a great run for Chase. Came into the evening 16th in the championship for Aero Kinetics. He finishes second tonight. Chuck Labano will come home in third. Chuck, of course, racing for Frito Sport Racing in his Mercedes AMG GT4. All right, Larry, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Thanks some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers and maybe even some of our champions here tonight from Barcelona, where you've just seen the season finale of season number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation on Apex Racing TV. That's a lot. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, where you've just seen the season finale, season number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, presented by the SCCA Foundation here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod, and let's take a look at that finishing order once again. Larry, in LMP3, Bailey Petrowski taking the win number 9 on the season for D2D Sim Racing. Robert Hartley, great run for Robert here tonight. Just everything clicked for him in that car this evening. He finishes second in LMP3, and then Eric Violette beating Travis Schwenke to the line to finish third tonight, and that should wrap up second place in the championship between between Violette and Schwenke. In GT4 Pro, Kevin Carlisle taking the win for SimCity Racing, with Mariano Barrios finishing second and Chris Thorman finishing in third. And then in GT4 AM, Zach Mosley from Fielder Sport Racing will take the win. We assume the champ. Well, actually, I'm not making any assumptions yet. We're gonna have to find out. It's gonna come down to the very end whether it is Mosley or whether it is Dragota who takes the GT4 AM championship. Finishing second, Chase West from Air Kinetics, and then Chuck Labano finishing in third. And Larry, as we can see here, everybody is out doing donuts right now. They're on the front straight. So because they're doing that, we haven't had any of them jump into the green room, but it looks like the final point standings have been updated.
Before we talk about AM, I'd wait because I don't trust them yet. I'm seeing an error in them, so we're going to wait on that one. The other ones, we're confident, but not GT4 AM quite yet.
Okay. All right. So hopefully we will see some of our winners here coming into the booth and into the green room, and as soon as we pull them in, we will definitely let them tell us what a wonderful race they had here this evening. Again, next season of the Sports Car Series, newly renamed. It's going to be the Ricmotech Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge, and it starts in just a few weeks, August 26th. Matter of fact, registration is open now. If you would like to join these great racers on the grid, you can do so if you go to xmsracing.com. All right, let's do this, Larry. Let's bring in driver of the number 72 72 SimCity Racing Mercedes. Our winner tonight in GT4, Kevin Carlisle.
All right, Kevin Carlisle getting the win here tonight. And Kevin, that was a fun race that you had going on there with Zach Mosley for a lot of that out there between him and Am later. He really brought the pace and really pushed you guys both tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, Zach's come a long way this season. He's worked his tail off and gotten pretty dang quick. He had me sweating for half that race. He was pushing my tires off. That's a pretty good strat because if I hadn't changed the lifts, he probably would have caught me at the end because I had nothing left.
Yeah, it seemed tire wear was a big thing tonight. If you can't conserve tires, it was going to come down to the end. And we may have even seen some of that happening in other classes. But for you, it chalks up yet another win and a very successful championship season here in GT4 Pro. So congrats for that. And what do you think? What's your thoughts here having won the championship this season?
Oh, it was great. I didn't really expect anything coming into the series. I saw a couple of fast people, and I said, all right, let's do this. I've been in the Ricmotech series several times in TCR. First time doing it in GT4, and I've been racing a lot of GT4 in different series. So I figured I'd come in here on the off season I had and put up some wins. It was fun.
Yeah, it was really a fascinating season. Lots of really great battles at the front. You've seen you right there at the front every single week and chalked up a number of wins. Truly successful season, so congratulations on that. But of course, I got to ask, are you coming back in a couple weeks to start the next season with us?
I sadly will not. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm probably going to come back in the season after next.
All right. Well, if you do that, at least on Monday nights, check in, jump into the chat, and at least keep your eye on this series, and we'll bring it back in, and we start this back up for the next season after that one. But awesome job tonight. Congrats on the championship, but I know that you got a lot of folks that you work with that probably helped you win this championship.
Yeah, thanks to everybody at SCR. Jason, if you're listening, size 10, you have my address. He's supposed to send me a free pair of shoes from Jordan, one of the sponsors.
Wow.
Monster, Oakley, Abruzzi, Grid, VRS. Thanks to you guys for putting on a good show all year. I always rewatch the broadcast, and you guys do a great job. So applaud to y'all as well for having a successful season.
Well, awesome job tonight. Awesome, great job all season long. You've been fast, well deserved to win this championship. So, SimCity Racing, you got a winner in your hands here. Kevin Carlisle winning tonight and winning the championship. Congrats.
Thank you guys. See y'all in a few months.
All right, there you go. Congratulations to Kevin. All right, Larry, let's bring in another championship that we know is not, is locked in.
Yeah.
Took 9 out of 10 possible wins here this season. It is just an absolutely dominant season for him. Not a dominate, but a dominant season for him. Larry, our winner tonight and our champion in LMP3 here this season, Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing.
Hey, Bailey, we have a rule in this. Anytime you win a championship, you got to play a song for us. You got one queued up already?
Oh no, I should have been prepared.
No worries. You can sing your victory song later, but victory tonight in dominant fashion once again. You looked like a man on a mission tonight to put the stamp on this season. Was that going through your mind that you just needed to win this to declare it yours?
Yeah, that was definitely how it started. Eventually I did start easing off a little bit, and then later on really started struggling with tires. And once I got halfway through, it was just more about survival at that point, just bringing it to the end. But yeah, just tried to treat it like any other race that I would do, and I wanted to see if I could help Eric in any way I could, but that was kind of out of my hands pretty quickly. But overall, pretty good race for me, and great race for Eric as well.
We were wondering if there was any sort of team tactics that could come into play tonight to block maybe some bonus points or to help back things up. But it turns out maybe that it was unnecessary, allowing you just to check off into the distance and do your thing as you always do. Even through traffic, you just looked like you were gliding past them with ease at times. It was pretty impressive stuff as it's been all season. I think Greg said 9 wins out of the, 8 plus the doubles, 10 races that we ran. So impressive result for you, leading to a championship. So you're back at the top of the ranking. I know that it's what you wanted starting this season. Does this feel satisfying to you?
Yeah, I wish I had to fight for it a little bit more. It was definitely a dominant performance, but I learned a lot this season in both my driving and working with a teammate and trying to take that and thinking a lot of different factors while driving that I never would have considered before. So that was my main goal going the season. The championship's definitely a bonus to that, so I'll take that as well. But I was mainly just trying to learn as much as I could and trying a different car and just trying to get more disciplines and figure out more styles of driving.
Yeah, well, you set a really high bar that the rest of the field is starting to learn to chase, and I'm looking forward to the next season coming up and seeing if some of those competitors start to close the gap. In fact, we saw tonight Robert Hartley, I think, ended up with fastest lap of the race. So
yes,
he's
I was going to mention that he was very quick towards the end. I think they did have Ryan had a slightly different strategy than us. Me and Eric, we both took 2 rear tires, and when we did practice, felt fine. In this, it felt so sketchy. So I don't know what was different about this, but I think I had more pace out of there, but I was taking it easy. But I was definitely surprised by his pace. He did a great job, and especially through traffic, 'cause I think most of his quick laps were through traffic.
Yeah, and he seemed to be very efficient in that, but then to keep the car in a good shape with whatever his tire strategy was, he was quicker than his other teammates at the end of that race. He was just quick, and that bodes well potentially for the next season. It's going to start in a few weeks, and of course I got to ask, are you going to be a part of that next season?
Probably not in this championship anymore. I'm going to go back to doing one championship and one race a week, but I'll definitely still be in the World Challenge, but that might be a little bit different as well. I'm going to try some new things in there, so it won't be the same as what it is. I won't spoil anything more than that, but it will be different. None of it's fully decided yet, but it will be different.
Nice. Dropping a little teaser for us. That's good. Maybe next week you can disclose the full plans there. But you've got one more week, I think, to prepare for that one. But tonight, you can celebrate and grab the guitar, maybe just sort of play a riff or something and just enjoy your success here tonight. But I know you've got a good team with you and some other folks that helped you win this championship. You probably want to give a mention to.
Yeah, I want to thank the whole team. Want to thank Eric for really pushing me, and we've been working together a lot in these practice sessions, trying to get us both up to pace. Thank Bobby for all of the work he does on the paint jobs for our team, as well as all the work he does with Extreme Motorsports. Want to thank all sponsors for our team, thank the sponsors for our series. I want to thank my dad for always watching these races and supporting me, as well as the friends and family. And then I want to thank you guys for commentating on these races as always and help making this a great show.
Well, awesome. We appreciate the mention there. And I think your competitors have a lot of respect for you, because Leo Jagodas just said in the chat that you just won some ballast that you have to carry next season. So extra weight if you come back.
Great.
That's a true sign of success and respect when your teammates say, you know what, let's just put some weight on him and slow him down somehow. But really, you showed excellence from the start of the season all the way through and brought it every single week, and well-deserved on this championship, Bailey. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, there you go, everybody. Bailey Petrowski, your winner tonight in LMP3 and your Season 6 LMP3 champion. Yeah, Larry, that's what we need. We need rewards weight. And so Bailey would be running what, about 400 pounds heavier than any of the other LMP3s.
Every win, it becomes a balance of performance to add to weight. So yeah, boy, that would change things, wouldn't it?
Yes, it definitely would. All right, and by the way, we'll give you our the final standings here in the championship for each of our classes when we finish up the interviews tonight. So, but let's do this, Larry. Let's bring in our winner tonight in GT4 AM, and let's see, how many wins on the season is it for this man? I believe this would be his 4th win this season. Driving the number 37 Frito Sport Racing Mercedes AMG GT4, Zach Mosley.
All right, Zach Mosley winning GT4 AM tonight. And Zach, he just about won the whole thing. We just talked to Kevin Carla. He talked about the pace that you brought. You just about forced Kevin to drive his tires off of that thing. You brought a lot of heat tonight. It's congrats on the win. Tell me a bit about your preparation for this race and what it meant to try and pull away a win.
I knew points were very, very close between me and Lucas. It's been a great season by that kid, and I knew I had to give it literally everything I had to have any chance So there was a lot of practice this week.
Yeah.
I've probably logged over 100 laps of practice just to find key points, key turn-ins. I had some pointers from some guys that are faster, and it was absolutely crucial for me finding the pace I had. So big shout out to all the guys that helped me.
Yeah, and that work totally paid off. You just looked like you had amazing pace from the beginning. You had jumped into that lead. You got that great pass going into turn one to get around Carlisle, and then he gets you back a little bit later. We thought, okay, well, maybe Schwenkler and maybe Mariano were going to get by you, but no, they just kept fading. Your pace just kept strong all the way right through the end of this race, and getting that well-deserved win in AM and just about to the entire GT4 race itself. And were you watching what was going on with Lucas live? Were you aware of his position through the race?
Yes, I had my overlays up. I had Race Lab's standings up so I could see kind of the GT4 field. I could see where he was. I knew the points payout per position, and I knew I needed 18 points to beat him. I will be 100% transparent. Kevin let me buy into turn one. That extra point was needed, and we had the conversation early in the week. I formed a really good friendship with Kevin.
Yeah.
He's an outstanding guy. Once I kind of had logged that book in, or that lap in the book, it was, okay, cool. I don't want to beat him like that. Slow up, let him have it back, and then we're going to fight for it tooth and nail and give everything we have for the whole
Get that
hour.
bonus point for the lap led at least, and then see where it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we're trying to do math here. I don't know if your math is done yet. The admins of the league are doing their math. We think we have it now sorted out, and I'm going to pull it up and give you the numbers here and tell you how close it was. Then I'll tell you whether it's you or whether it's Lucas. Maybe you've already got your own spreadsheet going. But in the last race, you came away with 62 points for tonight's last win, finishing second overall in GT4. You got the couple of bonus points tonight. Lucas ended up with only 24 points on the night, giving you the championship by a net of 5 points over Lucas Dragota. So Zach, congratulations on what you were clearly focused on doing, and it did pay off. So how's that feel? You're the champion of the league here in GT4 AM.
It's surreal, man. It's emotional.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of work into it. There's been a lot of anger and frustration. For people who watch RWC, they know I didn't have a great race last Monday night. That was kind of just the fruition of a lot of frustration, a lot of situations just not going the way I would want them to.
Yeah.
And it kind of took this week of, all right, cool, Chili Jets, focus on what's important. You can't win it all. Like, you can't win every race, but you have an opportunity to win it all, and that's bigger.
Yeah. So going back a month and a half ago, or 5-6 weeks ago now, Watkins Glen, all the incidents, rough race there. Were you thinking after that there's still a chance, or were you just say, well, let me just put one race together? What was your thought there? Because the next 3 rounds, when you got to Massano, Mugello, and then tonight, you took wins all 3 to make this comeback. But that seemed to be the turning point came after Watkins Glen.
I knew it was going to be close. It definitely became a week-by-week thing. I did have an unfortunate wheel disconnect due to some coding issues at the very first race in Imola. So that was my drop round there. I wrecked out of 3rd place in AM in that race. So I knew from that point forward it had to be week in, week out, hit your marks, finish well. Watkins Glen was unfortunate that Ken did nothing wrong. Ken's a good guy. He unfortunately just lost aero. It's cold tires. It's a tricky part of the track, and unfortunately I got caught at it, and it happens. It's racing every week in Watkins Glen. It's a known problem. It unfortunately happened. So it definitely became just take it week by week and see what happens.
Yeah, well, that attitude pays off, and all the work, it got you there. You end up taking the championship at GT4 AM. So congrats, but I know that you got a team and you got people that help you all along the way. You probably want to give a mention to.
First and foremost, my amazing, very, very beautiful wife. God bless her. She is an absolute angel. If she didn't allow me to do this as much as I do, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now. Second, again, I gave him a shout out earlier in the year. It's got to go to my father. Dad set me down at like 12, pretty much the same age Lucas is, and started showing me how to properly race, how to take corners, how to figure out apexes, slow in, fast out. So huge shout out to my father for doing that. Kevin Ford, Jeff Jacobs, all the guys over at XMS. It's been an amazing league. It's my first season in it. There will be many more, I can promise that. I will definitely be back. You guys, outstanding broadcast as always. I haven't seen it yet. I know it's outstanding. It's probably Oscar award winning. So
I'd like to thank the Academy.
I do.
I am not winning Best Supporting Actor.
I do very much enjoy watching the broadcast back the next day. I mean, y'all are great. It's all around an amazing experience, man. So it's very much appreciated. Again, thanks to everybody.
All right, well, congrats. Performance tonight, Zach, across the whole season. Great performance here to win the championship in GT4AM. Great job. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go, everybody. Your Season 6 GT4AM champion from Frito Sport Racing, Zach Mosley. And so, Larry, let's go, and we're going to run down the championship standings. I don't think we've got graphics built for this yet, but I think we can manage to pull this off. Let's start off with GT4AM, where Zach Mosley from Frito Sport did take the win, or take the championship here. With Lucas Dragotta finishing second in the championship, 5 points back. Chuck Labano from Frito Sport Racing will take the bronze here this season, season number 6, with David Klimovich finishing in 4th, and then Dale Maxwell finishing in 5th. If we move over to GT4 Pro, it is SimCity Racing's Kevin Carlisle with the championship, 73 points over Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff. Mariano Barrios, and this, Larry, this was close. We were watching this race for quite some time. Only 2 points separating Robert Schwenkler and Mariano Barrios in the fight for second.
Wow.
Jeff Jacobs will finish in 3rd for SCCA Foundation, and then Ken Copeland from The Wrong Stuff. And I believe Ken was our GT4 Pro champion last season. To this season, you can tell how tough things get. He finishes 5th in the championship. And now let's move over to LMP3, where you heard him here. And it sounds like he's going to be taking a little bit of a sabbatical. He's from the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge, your champion in season number 6. From D2D Sim Racing, Bailey Petrowski, and just there's no other way to put it but dominant.
Yeah.
His teammate Eric Violet from D2D finishes 2nd, 40 points back. Travis Schwenke finishes 3rd in the championship, only 5 points separating Violet from Schwenke there at the very end. And then Robert Hartley, who finished 2nd tonight on track, he takes home 4th in the championship, with Leo Dragotta finishing in 5th.
What a night, what a season, for sure.
Yes, indeed it was. And I know that there was heartbreak, Larry, but is tonight, but we obviously think of the positives and some of the great racing that we've seen over all 8 rounds of the season here, and of course there is more to come. So let's take a look at what we've got coming up in the next few weeks here across our Ricmotech series. Next up is the season finale of the Ricmotech World Challenge for our GT3 and GTP racers. 75-minute run to the checkered flag at Fuji Speedway.
It's a long flight from Barcelona to Tokyo, but we better catch that one that overnight tomorrow night.
But Larry, it's a lot shorter than the drive we made from Mugello to Barcelona. So I'll take it. Plus,
well, now that we're Academy Award winners, we should be able to fly first class.
I was just gonna say we're gonna fly. We're gonna get great food and have sleeper seats in first class. So that is what's coming up next week, and then August 26th, so 2 weeks from now, it is season number 7 of the newly renamed Ricmotech Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge. And again, changes we've got here listed as round 1, 60 minutes. But again, I believe that every single round is going to be 2 races of 35 minutes, or, you know, who knows? We may show up in maybe 60 minutes. And I believe round number 1 currently scheduled to be Virginia International Raceway. So that is in 2 weeks. And then remember, the Touring Car Cup returns this January for our MX-5 Cup and GR86 Cup cars. You don't want to miss it. Registration is open for both the World Challenge and the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge. If you go to xmsracing.com, you can join us on the grid. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, His Eminence, for Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.